All right, so I made this video last night, but SoundCloud is fucked up, so I figured I'd remake it. Somebody asked a while back ago, one of the comments of my videos about which I like better, DMT or LSD. So I figured I'd roll with that, and I'd also add to it what the difference is between DMT and LSD, like kind of contrast and compare the two. For people who've never tried one or the other. So, in a nutshell, I'll try to make this under 5 minutes. Let's see. They're both psychedelics, obviously, and DMT lasts only for about 10 or 15 minutes. 15, well, if you smoke it. Orally, which I've never tried yet, the ayahuasca, whatever. Haven't tried that yet. I'm going to soon, but need to be in the right place for that since it lasts quite a long time, I hear. So DMT, in the most commonly used form, I'd say smoking it, lasts for about 5 to 10 minutes, maybe 15 at the most. The visuals are way better on DMT. Unlike LSD, which will produce great visuals, even on high doses of LSD, though, the visuals you still know are hallucinations. I mean, and in my opinion, well, compared to DMT, they're a lot more milder. Don't get me wrong, you can see some pretty bizarre, crazy shit with LSD, but with LSD, you're pretty much just expected to see like breathing, like things pulsating, like dimensions, colors brighter, things can kind of like take on a, like, I don't know, kind of life on their own, like they breathe, a lot of people say, or the patterns really become more noticeable on the walls and the carpet, shit like that. You see tracers of lights and stuff, things can get streaky a little bit. And now higher doses, of course, it becomes more intense, but with DMT, but even then with LSD, like I said in the video, 30 hits of acid guy, or whatever, that said, I wasn't really scared because I knew it was just a drug. Well, that was kind of a lie. I was pretty fucking scared. I wasn't like terrified, but I was definitely scared. But I knew there were hallucinations. I think I was more scared because I wasn't sure if I was ever gonna fucking come down. That was the scary part mainly, but I still knew there were hallucinations. Now with DMT, depending on how much you take, right? A mild dose, the hallucinations will be similar to LSD. Heavier doses, especially when they call it breaking through, whatever, you can actually see stuff that you don't even know you're hallucinating anymore. Like there's been times where I've done heavy doses of DMT where I don't even know did DMT anymore. Like all of a sudden I'm just like kind of like Star Trek, I get transported somewhere, pop somewhere else. Felt like that, but I didn't know that I just did DMT. And it's almost like an instant dream if you do high doses like that. It's like an instant type dreaming. So just as real as a dream is to you, that's how real it can be at DMT and higher doses. I prefer the visuals, just mild differences between the light doses of DMT and LSD, the visuals. I prefer the DMT. I think the visuals are stronger. I like them better. Even if you don't do high doses, the visuals I still think are more intense, and I still think they're better. My opinion. Now LSD, you get the visuals. LSD, unlike DMT, will last for many hours. I'm talking like, even an average dose, say, a couple tabs, one tab, 2 tabs, whatever. You'll still be on decent LSD. You should be high for at least 8 hours. Like you should, feel the effects for at least 8 to 10 hours. Of course, the more you take, that can extend, but the average would be about 8 to 10 hours, I'd say, maybe even up to 12. You'll peak, and, but within 45 minutes to an hour, you'll feel it, then it'll get strong, and then it'll stay at its strongest, its peak for, I don't know, hour to 2 hours, again, that depends on how much you take, and then it'll taper itself down, and then towards the end, it'll just be kind of flat until it goes away. You expect the trip to last about 10 to 12 hours. DMT, again, if you smoke it, it's like you feel it within 30 seconds. At least, sometimes right away. Like, at least, at the most 30 seconds. Like if you smoke it, you should feel it like almost instantly. It's like burp, straight up, and then there's not a whole lot of curve there, which is nice. Now again, it depends on how much you smoke and how you do it. But let's see, what else is there? I don't know. The length, the duration of it is the big thing. That's why I like DMT. I guess I prefer DMT over LSD is because I don't always want to be high for 10, 8 hours. 10, 12 hours, whatever. I kind of like just to get really, really fucking high for like 10 minutes, because even if you get too high, it's still only fucking 10 minutes. Get too high on LSD, you're in for a fucking ride. It could last, you'd have to take a stupid amount like I accidentally did with the 20, 30 hit story, but that, even that lasted for a few days. But the regular dose, you still, make sure you don't have anything to do for at least 12 hours. Now if you're, if you're not new to it, once you've tried it a few times, then you can kind of gauge for yourself. Some people used to take LSD like myself and go to school. First period, fucking bam, take 2 hits, right? Guys, I got on the school bus. Boop, my friends too, boop, boop. And then like by third hour, whatever, we'd all be tripping balls. Like, the first hour you'd be like, I don't feel it, I don't feel it. You feel it? There's no cell phones, so we couldn't text each other. But it's like, the next second period, you're like, oh yeah, I guess this is real. And like by third period, like, what? It was kind of fun. DMT is also cool if you do it like in the carts, like I like to do, like the vape it, because it doesn't taste bad, can't really smell it, and you can do it anywhere, in front of people even, But until you get familiar with DMT, you probably should do it in a safe setting. I like to kind of push the envelope with DMT and to kind of do it. I think it's cool to do it like in public and watch things get cartoony and shit, but I kind of know what's my limit. And LSD is fun to do in public too. I like psychedelics in general, but those are the main difference I would say between LSD and DMT. I prefer DMT for the reasons I just explained. I'm trying to think of some of the other differences. I find that DMT, I think LSD is a little harder on you. Maybe it's just because you're high for so long. But I have like a LSD hangover sometimes the next day. Often actually when I do LSD, like the next day, I feel kind of like, I call it gummy. I call it Gumby. I feel just kind of like a little, I don't know, not like quite, nothing like an alcohol hangover, but it's like, feel a little bit drained, a little tired. My mind's a little bit slower, probably just because I've been high for that long. With DMT, I really don't feel that, except for like if I've done it several times a day, I might start to get tired from it. Like after the 10 minutes is up or whatever, I might kind of feel a little tired. But I don't know. I've never had like a bad hangover on DMT at all. So that's about it. Just like, LSD, I remember like if you want to do it multiple times, like within a week, say, best if you do LSD to wait at least a week to do it again. You don't have to. You can actually do it the next day, but you'll have to take twice as much because, I don't know, I guess I have a tolerance, right? So you build a tolerance. You want to give LSD at least, I'd say, at least a week to get your tolerance back down, but you don't have to. Just, be aware that it's not going to be as effective. So you might have to double down is what I do. I just take twice as much. Sounds dangerous, and it probably is. So this is not advice, but this is what I do. Now, DMT, your tolerance, if you wait 24 hours, you're fine. I can do it several times a day for a couple days and not notice my tolerance goes. But then if I, after a few days of doing it 2-3 times a day, then I notice that it's not working as well. Then I just wait a day and I'm fine again. Sleep, eat, stuff like that. Yeah, body just rejuvenates. But yeah, that's about it. Hope I answered your question. All right.